I told my mechanic about this YouTube guy who sells cars for 5K and under. He said that guy must sell a lot of junk. Prove him wrong.
So I do see this comment a lot saying that, okay, if you sell cars that are $5,000 and under, they must be absolute trash. Now, if you are from up north, if you're at a place where there's a lot of rust and someone did that there, then they would be 100% correct, because in those areas, anything that is similar to what I sell, either high mileage or an older vehicle, some of the vehicles that we sell are 15, 20, even get to like 25 years old, then they're just disintegrated. Luckily, the where we are and where we live and where our business is run, we're in a place where a business like mine can actually exist, because we don't have a lot of salt on our roads, we don't get a lot of snow, we don't get a lot of ice. We're in central North Carolina, and so we can have frames that are 15, 20, 25 years old and they still look brand new. Now that doesn't throw out the electronical like components of a car, and those things do deteriorate. You have seals that will dry rot, things like this. So it's a very fair question to ask. And one thing that I'll say is that myself and Alex, my mechanic, we go through cars very well at these auctions before we actually buy them, and we know really what we're getting into for the most part on a lot of the vehicles that we're buying. And the two biggest things are motor and transmission. In a lot of cases, we can check them just by either cranking them up, putting them in gear, but we also have code readers that can send us any kind of problem codes. Now, we're not going to catch everything. Code reader is not going to tell you everything about a vehicle, but it can tell you a lot. So we're able to mitigate the kind of problems that are going to arise in these cheap cars. And trust me, there are a lot of problems that can pop up on these things, especially problems that can nickel and dime you. But what we do is the way that we check them out, we're able to avoid a lot of this. Now, that's not to say that every one of the cars that we buy and sell is going to be a great car. I'm not going to say that. We sell cars that are $5,000 and under. There's going to be a problem with a car that's $5,000 and under. We're not selling perfect cars, and our customers know that we're not selling perfect cars. We're selling a cheap form of transportation, not to last you forever, but to get you to your next stage in your financial future. If you're buying a Beat or a simple A to B car right now, a Toyota Corolla that's 15 years old, that's got 175,000 miles, and you're paying $3,500 for it, you should not expect that car to last you 10 years, right? So these are the kind of expectations that our customers are going to have when they come buy a car. So I can assure you that a mechanic that works on cars every single day, sees all these common problems every single day, they're accustomed to seeing these same cars with these similar problems that we might have on our lot. But they're going to be skewed to seeing all of the problems because that's all they're getting fed. They're not going to necessarily see that 300,000 mile Toyota Camry that has lasted what many would think 100,000 miles past their prime and still running strong. And where I see that at auctions, now we don't buy stuff that has that many miles. I do have a limit of what I'll buy, but these 2006 Camrys with a 4-cylinder motor that's got 200,000 miles on it, I'm not scared of something like that at all. I'll buy that every single day. And I know that as long as we check it out, as long as it's not consuming a bunch of oil, as long as we're not hearing knocks, ticks, we're not seeing smokes coming out of the tailpipe to let us know of some serious problem. And we do drive these cars before we're actually selling them. We do inspect them before we're getting these cars sold. As long as we do all those things, I know that particular car is going to have a lot more mileage left on it. It's going to have many more years that's left on it. We try to buy vehicles that will fit that specific kind of theme when we're buying cars, where we know what we're getting into and we know what we're putting our customer into, because at the end of the day we have to put our name on it too. And what I can tell you is that we went through our numbers one time. It was like 40% of our customers that actually bought cars from us were either referrals or repeats. And that's crazy to think, because we sell cars that are $5,000 and under. For those of you that know our website, if you go on Google, you see that we have like 4.3 stars, and we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reviews, and we're a used car dealer. Throw out the fact that we sell cars that are $5,000 and under. It's very difficult for just any used car dealer to have positive reviews like that. And then take it another step further, We have reviews that are also on cars that are $5,000 and under, which cars that are $5,000 and under have a tendency to break. If you've watched this channel for a while, you've probably seen this bike around. This is my electric XP. What I like about it is how simple it is. From the time it shows up, it's basically box to bike in just a few minutes and you're riding. No complicated setup, no headaches. This bike tops out at 28 miles per hour and depending on how you ride it, can get up to 50 miles or more in range. You can take it out on longer rides without worrying about constantly charging. You can pedal, use the throttle, or mix it up. It's completely up to you. What really stands out is how practical it is. I use it for quick trips, just riding around my neighborhood, or use it just to get outside more. It's comfortable, easy to ride, and honestly just fun, which is probably why people actually end up using these more than standard bikes. Lectric's whole thing is being affordably awesome. A lot of their bikes come in at under $1,000 without cutting corners. They're UL certified, come with hydraulic brakes, and Lectric was the first e-bike company to offer that combination at this price point. So it's no secret they're the top selling e-bike brand in the US. So if you want to check out their rides, click the link in the description below or scan this QR code on screen. Right now, you can add a bike cover to your order and get it for free using my code CQA at checkout. So we're doing really good things at my car dealership. We're doing really good things to get good cars to customers. If we're having that kind of track record where we have lots of repeats, lots of referrals, they were happy once, they come back again. Or they're happy once and they tell their friends and family about it. Or they're happy enough with the car that they bought that's under $5,000 that they're leaving us that kind of review, and we don't have just a ton of negative reviews that are stacking up on our on us for our website. We're going to have negative reviews because, like I said, $5,000 and under cars, they have a tendency to break, and then you also are going to have customers that come in there and their expectations are not where they're going to be for a $3,500 car. They're going to want a perfect car for $3,500. And anyone who's watching this and you know anything about cars, you know that that just doesn't exist. And that's not what we're trying to sell. We're not trying to say that we have perfect cars that you're only paying $3,500 for. We're trying to say, hey, you're buying a car from us that's cheap. And you're going to have to probably fix something on it down the road if it's not right now. And you're saving that money now and make sure that you're putting some away or at least getting it checked out by your mechanic so you know what that next potential fix is going to be on that vehicle. Not selling a perfect car. I'm selling you a car to be able to get you to your next stage in life. And if you want to do that and stay out of debt doing it, that's what we're selling.
What would be the best under 5K car for a 17-year-old in your opinion? And there was another question for what's the best used car under 10,000?
Both same answer. So the best used car that you can buy, whether it's on my lot or any other place that you can buy a car that's under $5,000, is going to be a 2002 to 2006 Toyota Camry, and there's not a second place. That would be my second place, a third place, and a fourth place. All a 2002 to 2006 Toyota Camry, 4-cylinder. That's very important. The 4 cylinders lasted a lot longer than the 6 cylinders. I don't know if it was an engineering thing where the 4 cylinders were just better motors than the 6 cylinders, or if because the 6 cylinders had more power, they just got dogged more. But the 4 cylinders, I can go to used car dealer auctions right now, and a 2002 to 2006 Toyota Camry, the number one car that's going to have over 300,000 miles and still sound like a brand new car and not have anything wrong with it is a 2002 to 2006 Toyota Camry. I absolutely love these cars. I am not sponsored by Toyota, and I talk about these things all the time, and I don't have to. But if there's one car that I can own on my dealership at all times and just have 100 of them all the time, and it can have a 200,000 miles, I don't care. That's the car that I would pick over and over and over again. I bought my mama a car 2 years ago. Guess what I bought her? I bought her a Toyota Camry. It wasn't a 2002 to 2006. I bought her a newer one, but I got her a Camry. My wife, before the Honda van that she had a Toyota. I've had a Toyota Tacoma. I love Toyotas. Second place, I said there was no second place. It would be fifth place at this point would be Honda Civic, Honda Accord, Toyota Corolla, all of those kind of grouped in to one segment, all to themselves. They're all three of those very, very, very good cars, but they're not even close to the reliability and the maintenance that you're just not going to have to do, and the longevity that you're going to get out of that Toyota Camry that I'm talking about. If you're looking at like an SUV, we're talking about cars that are $5,000 and under, very reliable. You can still probably find maybe a RAV4 that's older or a CRV that's older. I'm fine with those two. If you're looking at just a vehicle and you want something that's an SUV and not a car, then those would be my two front runners for SUVs. And then I can go a step further and even say like a van, and that's going to be a Toyota Sienna. I like Siennas a lot better than Honda Odysseys. Honda Odysseys in that range, you're going to deal with a lot of transmission problems, whereas the Toyota Siennas were more rock solid. Usually there's a case where I'm talking about Toyotas and Hondas in whatever genre that I'm talking about. This is not going to be the one. I still like Honda Odysseys, but the Sienna is head and shoulders above it in that van category. I would only do a Sienna in that price range. And truck is just no. You're not going to be able to buy a good truck for under $5,000. It doesn't exist.
What percent of Alex's time is spent buying vehicles versus fixing them? And he also does a couple of other things too.
Ooh, yeah.
Those are his main things.
But. Yeah, that's a good question. He goes to 2 to 3 auctions a week. It's normally 3. And those auctions are going to take up about half the whole day. And he works 5 days a week. So that means he is spending about a day and a half on auctions, and the rest of the time he's a majority of the time he's actually fixing cars. But when we get busy in the shop, I mean, we only have 2 salespeople up front right now. He becomes a greeter and someone to run tags and someone to set up test drives. He can do everything. The only thing that he doesn't do in our business is actually do the paperwork to sell the cars. So I would say it's probably a 60-40 split of him fixing cars to him going to auctions. Auctions is the 40% there. But also there's probably a 10% in there somewhere where he's just doing everything else. So maybe 50% fixing the cars, 10% everything else, and 40% of him actually buying the cars. And he's a rock star. He does everything, and he does it very, very, very well.
Do CarMax and Carvana show up at the auctions you go to? If so, are they big shots?
So it's interesting that what I've seen over the last couple of weeks is that at the biggest auction that I go to, Carvana has actually been a big bidder at this auction. I won't say who actually runs the auction, but it's one of the big guys. And it's interesting to me because Carvana also owns their own auction. They own ADESA. I don't like ADESA. They blacklisted me, but that's a separate story for a different time. But it's interesting to me that they're going to the other big player that's in the room and going and buying a lot of cars from there. Now, Carvana has recently released their earnings, and their sales volumes are up. They're on paper doing good. I think there's a lot of back end shadiness that's going along with Carvana. We won't get into that right here. But yeah, they're a big player when they go into an auction, specifically one that's not their own, and they're dropping lots of money trying to buy cars. But it also shows that consumers are not trying to just dump their cars to Carvana and CarMax at the same rate that they used to if Carvana needs to find different outlets to actually buy cars. This is what I don't like because what we need from consumers is to get rid of their old cars, buy newer cars, have trade-ins, velocity of money that's moving through the system for small used car dealers like myself to be able to exist. We need more trade-ins to come in the system. But if customers are holding on to their cars longer, but it makes sense because they don't want to sign up for that new, this $800 car payment right now for a new car and like a $550 car payment for a used car. They're just holding on to their cars for way longer because they can't afford to get into that next car. And we need them to trade those cars in. For that to happen, we need prices to come down. But if you have Carvana coming into the system and buying cars because they're not getting enough from consumers, that's not going to do anything but make the prices continually go up. So this is alarming for me as a used car dealer for them to come and start tapping my market because the way that they've been sourcing cars is not enough. And it's just the nature of the beast. As they get bigger, they're going to need more cars. They're going to have to source them from other places. CarMax seems like they're going the opposite way. They're not selling as many vehicles. So they're trying hard, but they're not doing it. They've also recently put out their earnings, and it's not good. You can see CarMax's stock over the last year versus Carvana's stock over the last year. One of them on paper is winning. One of them on paper is losing. So this is a dichotomy of what two what I'll say similar businesses are experiencing in the market, whereas Carvana's maybe more tied to the loans that they're writing and selling, where CarMax is more of a physical thing, physical location, and it's determined more on the actual cars that they're selling versus the loans that they're writing. But at the end of the day, cars still have to get sold. So we're seeing volumes that are going opposite directions with both companies. But yeah. So Carvana, they're a big player coming in these auctions. It's worrisome for a small car dealer like myself, and worrisome for the types of vehicles that are not entering the market because consumers are just holding on to their cars longer. Something that's going to play out, but I think it's going to be a net negative probably in the future for them to one have to do this, and then for them to see the viability of them actually buying cars from all these big auctions that I'm going to. So stay tuned, but not a good setup.